For decades, scientists believed that living past 95 was mostly a matter of genetics. If you were lucky enough to inherit the right DNA, you might reach that age. If not, there was little you could do about it. But a team of longevity doctors recently uncovered something so unexpected that even they questioned the results at first. They tracked 4 H112 women who lived beyond the age of 95, studying not just how long they lived, but how well they age. What they discovered completely changed the way researchers now understand aging. These women were not just surviving longer, they were aging slower. Their arteries remained flexible instead of stiff. Their memory centers stayed active instead of shrinking rapidly. Their nighttime blood pressure patterns looked more like women in their 60s than their 90s. Many of them were still walking independently, holding conversations without confusion, and maintaining a sense of purpose that most people lose decades earlier. When researchers compared their brain scans, blood work, and daily routines, something extraordinary emerged. Over 87% of these long-living women shared the exact same 5 daily habits. What made this even more shocking was how different these women were from one another. They lived in different countries. They had different genetic backgrounds. They followed completely different diets and cultural traditions. Some lived in cities, others in rural villages, yet these 5 habits showed up again and again, regardless of lifestyle or location. The data made one thing clear. These habits were not accidental. They were powerful enough to protect the brain, strengthen the heart, reduce inflammation, and slow biological aging itself. When doctors looked deeper using MRI scans, they noticed something that truly stunned them. The hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning, was shrinking dramatically slower in these women. In some cases, the rate of shrinkage was nearly half of what is typically seen in people over 80. It was as if the brain was being shielded every single day by small, almost invisible behaviors that took only minutes to perform. Blood tests told the same story. These women had lower levels of inflammatory markers that normally accelerate aging. Their cortisol levels followed smoother, healthier nighttime patterns. Their insulin sensitivity remained strong, reducing the risk of diabetes and metabolic disease. All of these factors are critical for staying mobile, mentally sharp, and independent late in life. One lead researcher admitted something remarkable. He said they expected genetics to explain most of the longevity, but daily actions had a stronger effect than DNA itself. That realization changed the entire direction of the study. What you are about to hear is not theory. It is not motivation or wishful thinking. It is data-backed evidence showing what actually works. In this video, we are breaking down the 5 daily habits shared by women who lived past 95, ranked from the least powerful to the most life, extending based on the research. And it is important that you stay until the very end, because the number 1 habit is the one scientists now believe may directly slow biological aging at the cellular level. The study behind it shocked even the most experienced researchers. References for all the scientific studies mentioned are included in the description for anyone who wants to explore further. And before we continue, take a moment to think about this. From where you are watching right now, what is the one daily habit you never skip? Share it in the comments. I read and respond to as many seniors as I possibly can. Let's begin with the habit ranked number 5, because it is something you have probably done before, but almost certainly not in the way these long-living women did it. The 5th habit is getting direct natural sunlight within the first hour after waking up. At first glance, this sounds too simple to matter, but the science behind morning sunlight exposure is extraordinary. Researchers at the University of California found that senior women who exposed themselves to natural morning light within 60 minutes of waking had dramatically better health outcomes than who stayed indoors or relied on artificial lighting. or relying on artificial lighting. This habit costs nothing. It takes just 10 to 15 minutes. And according to the data, it can add years of healthy life. Here is what happens inside your body when natural light enters your eyes in the morning. Deep in your brain is a structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Think of it as your master biological clock. When morning sunlight hits specialized receptors in your eyes, it sends a powerful signal to this clock, telling your entire body that the day has begun. This one signal triggers a cascade of hormonal events that affect your metabolism, immune system, mood, digestion, and sleep quality. A study from Northwestern University found that women over 70 who received adequate morning light exposure had lower body mass index, better insulin sensitivity, and significantly reduced inflammation compared to those who did not. Inflammation is one of the primary drivers of aging and nearly every age-related disease. Lowering it consistently is one of the most powerful ways to protect long-term health. The way these women practiced this habit was very specific. They went outside within the first hour of waking, ideally within the first 30 minutes. They did not need bright sunshine directly on their face, though that helped. Even on cloudy days, outdoor light was many times stronger than any indoor lighting. Some sat on their porch with morning tea. Others walked slowly around their garden. Some simply stood near an open window when going outside was not possible. The key was consistency. Their bodies learned to expect light at the same time each morning, which strengthened their circadian rhythm. A strong circadian rhythm improves nighttime sleep quality, and better sleep allows deeper cellular repair, stronger immune function, and slower biological aging. One Japanese study found that elderly women who maintained this morning light ritual had cortisol patterns that looked nearly 20 years younger than women who did not. And interestingly, better mornings led to better nights. These women fell asleep faster, stayed asleep longer, and woke up feeling more rested, all from a habit that required no medication and no effort beyond stepping outside. Now, as important as morning light is, the next habit showed even stronger effects on inflammation and immune health. The fourth habit is eating one serving of fermented foods before noon. When researchers examined the diets of women who lived past 95 in longevity hotspots around the world, one pattern stood out clearly. These women ate fermented foods almost every single day, and most of them consumed these foods in the morning or early afternoon. Your gut contains trillions of bacteria that collectively weigh several pounds. These microorganisms influence your immune system, brain health, hormone balance, and even how fast your cells age. A groundbreaking study from Stanford University found that people who ate fermented foods daily had significantly lower levels of inflammatory markers in their blood. Chronic inflammation is now considered one of the main drivers of heart disease, dementia, arthritis, cancer, and accelerated aging. When senior women in these studies ate fermented foods consistently, their gut bacteria diversity increased dramatically, and inflammation dropped by nearly 20% in just a few weeks. Fermented foods include yogurt with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, natto, and certain aged cheeses. The key is choosing products that contain live bacteria and have not been pasteurized after fermentation. These women did not eat large amounts. Many had half a cup of yogurt in the morning. Others added a spoonful of sauerkraut to breakfast or soup. What mattered was daily consistency. Eating fermented foods before noon is especially effective because your digestive system is more active and receptive earlier in the day. Studies show probiotic bacteria have a better chance of surviving and colonizing the gut when consumed earlier rather than late at night. In Okinawa, one of the world's most famous longevity regions, women routinely eat fermented soy products like miso or natto with their first meal of the day. These foods support gut health, reduce inflammation, and strengthen immune defenses. Once again, The habit itself was simple, but its impact on long-term health was profound. After looking at what these women put into their bodies, researchers turned their attention to something less obvious but equally powerful. The third habit was having one meaningful conversation every single day. This was not casual small talk, it was intentional emotional connection. The women who lived past 95 made sure that every day, without exception, they had at least one conversation that felt real, personal, and emotionally nourishing. Research now suggests that social connection may be as important for longevity as diet or physical activity. A massive study from Brigham Young University analyzing data from over 3,000 people found that strong social relationships increase survival odds by 50%. That effect is comparable to quitting smoking and more powerful than avoiding obesity. For senior women, the benefits were even greater. Studies showed lower blood pressure, stronger immune responses, and reduced risk of cognitive decline among those who maintain daily meaningful interactions. The biology behind this is fascinating. Positive social interaction triggers the release of oxytocin, which counteracts stress hormones like cortisol. When cortisol stays elevated for too long, it accelerates aging and damages the brain, heart, and immune system. These women did not leave connection to chance. Many had a daily phone call at the same time each morning. Others met friends for tea, attended community gatherings, or spent time talking deeply with family members. The conversation itself mattered. They talked about feelings, memories, hopes, and concerns. They listened and felt heard. Even 15 minutes of meaningful conversation produced measurable benefits. Next, researchers examined movement patterns. The second habit was moving gently but continuously throughout the day. The women who lived past 95 made sure that every day, without exception, they had at least one conversation that felt real, personal, and emotionally nourishing. Research now suggests that social connection may be as important for longevity as diet or physical activity. A massive study from Brigham Young University analyzing data from over 300,000 people found that strong social relationships increased survival odds by 50%. That effect is comparable to quitting smoking and more powerful than avoiding obesity. For senior women, the benefits were even greater. Studies showed lower blood pressure, stronger immune responses, and reduced risk of cognitive decline among those who maintain daily meaningful interactions. The biology behind this is fascinating. Positive social interaction triggers the release of oxytocin, which counteracts stress hormones like cortisol. When cortisol stays elevated for too long, it accelerates aging and damages the brain, heart, and immune system. These women did not leave connection to chance. Many had a daily phone call at the same time each morning. Others met friends for tea, attended community gatherings, or spent time talking deeply with family members. The conversation itself mattered. They talked about feelings, memories, hopes, and concerns. They listened and felt heard. Even 15 minutes of meaningful conversation produced measurable benefits. Next, researchers examined movement patterns. The second habit was moving gently but continuously throughout the day. These women were not exercising in the modern sense. They were not lifting heavy weights or running long distances. Most never went to a gym. Instead, they moved naturally all day long. They walked to nearby places. They gardened. They cooked. They cleaned. They climbed stairs. They stood up frequently. This constant low-level movement protected their muscles, joints, balance, and cardiovascular health. Studies found that prolonged sitting, even in people who exercise, increases mortality risk. The body is designed for near constant movement, not long periods of stillness. Women who moved throughout the day had better walking speed, balance, bone density, and metabolic health. Some had physical function comparable to women 15 years younger. Finally, researchers identified the most powerful habit of all. Every single evening, these women practiced intentional gratitude, not vague appreciation, not occasional thankfulness. Intentional, specific gratitude every night before sleep. Stanford researchers found that this habit was more predictive of reaching age 95 than any other factor studied. Women who practiced gratitude had significantly longer telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes that determine cellular aging. Gratitude activates neurotransmitters that reduce stress hormones and inflammation. Practicing it before sleep lowers cortisol, improves sleep quality, and enhances overnight cellular repair. These women mentally listed 3 to 5 specific things they were grateful for each night. Specific moments created stronger neurological responses. Some wrote them down. Others reflected silently. What mattered was consistency. This simple practice protected their DNA. Start tonight. Think of 3 specific moments you appreciate from today. Do it every night. These 5 habits are free, simple, and available to everyone. And together, they may be the most powerful longevity formula science has ever uncovered.